As we reported earlier in the show, former President Trump's bloodbath comments made headlines over the weekend, but now some news outlets are under fire for taking that term out of context. Joining us now to discuss the media coverage of Trump's comments is investigative journalist Jeff Kарлson. He's also the co-host of Truth Over News on Epic TV. Jeff Kарлson, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me here.
Now, Trump is dominating headlines, but this is for a speech where over the weekend he was talking about the automobile industry, and he was saying that if he is not elected, there will be a bloodbath for the automobile industry because China is skirting tariffs and setting up plants in Mexico and creating cars there, which is then going to kill the U.S. automotive industry.
That's right.
Meanwhile, media reports are calling that he is saying there's going to be a bloodbath, as in civil war, if he's not elected. What's your reaction to the way the media has been covering this?
Well, I have a couple different reactions to this, but I think it's important to view this as a sequence in an already number of events that have transpired. And my own personal reaction to this is to take it a lot more seriously than I think that it's actually being taken. There seems to be kind of this element of, almost a sense of victory, that we successfully push back on a false narrative. And in a sense, that's correct. But this has just been one in a series of steps that have been taken by the DNC, or really more broadly kind of the establishment, because it goes beyond the DNC, more sort of the deep state, the embedded intelligence officials. And, although we've seen this for a while, we saw it begin to take shape in real form at the end of last year when a guy by the name of Kagan put out an article that basically said, Trump's going to be president, and we have to do anything under our power to stop him. He just so happens to be the husband of Victoria Nuland, the former secretary, the State Department official who just resigned. That was her husband. We then had another article, it was NBC News, that probably everybody has seen, that talked about warning again about the dangers of a Trump presidency. And in that article, they reveal the efforts that were ongoing by what I effectively think of as kind of a war game team that's working behind the scenes. One of those parties that they wrote that was quoted in that article was none other than Mary McCord. Going back to she was an old Obama official, and she's been involved in practically everything. So there's a huge amount of groundwork that's going on behind the scenes that I think most of the public isn't aware about. And this narrative, this new narrative of bloodbath, is just another piece in this overall effort. So for myself, I'm more alarmed than I think people should be more alarmed, and treat this a little bit more seriously than I think it's actually being treated, because it's emblematic of a much larger effort that's ongoing.